Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to Office Hours. Thank you very much for joining me here today. Happy Friday. Welcome. Sorry, just getting my systems operating here. But welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me. We will get this show on the road here. Again, happy Friday. I hope you're having a good week and looking forward to the weekend. I have got a crazy busy weekend. There's San Diego, my local media business here. Man, we've just got a ton of stuff going on. So looking forward to that. It's all fun stuff, which is good. But this tonight is the biggest party of the year at the San Diego Museum of Art. And it's this week is their biggest fundraising week. They've got a special art exhibition going on. And their San Diego sponsors a bar at the big party tonight. And so we have these local brands that we work with, and they come and pour their drinks at our bar. It's a big, several $100s a ticket, all you can eat, all you can drink, big shindig. So looking forward to that tonight. And then the party just kind of keeps on rolling here for the rest of the weekend. So got a lot going on. So hope you got some fun stuff too. Welcome to Office Hours. If you are not familiar with Office Hours, this is 100% Q&A. I have no agenda for you other than to try and answer questions or be helpful in any way that I can. You can post questions, in the comments here. I will also post a link that if you need to join me on camera, so that we can have a discussion with, if you've got a question that's got more complexity, needs more context, all that good stuff, then you can join me using that link and we'll have a little conversation. If you need to share your screen, not screen your share your screen for any particular reason, you can do that. Brock says you need IT help. No, Brock, I do not need IT help. I need timekeeping help. I have an entrepreneur's clock, which means I'm over optimistic about everything. I always tell all my friends, everybody who knows me, anybody that I'm meeting up for dinner, coffee, anything like that, I always tell them, let's just pretend that I'm your European friend who has that sense of European time where things don't start right on time. It's almost kind of rude to start right on time. You're supposed to kind of come in a little bit late and be real relaxed and everything. I'm that guy. So if you just pretend I'm that guy, it just makes everything go better. So, all right, let's jump into it first. Chris, welcome here. Does HighLevel provide training on how to use the solution? Yes, Chris, they definitely do. They have a number of different options for you. So let me just explain what those are briefly. One, when you sign up for HighLevel, there's an option to do a onboarding with them. It is an additional expense. I can't remember how much it is. It's let's say a couple $100, but I believe very well worth it for 90% of people, where they're going to take you through and really make sure that you know how to set up and use the account quickly, the core features, things like that. They have, of course, all kinds of help documentation and videos and things like that they're constantly producing. They do daily calls. Actually, they're daily calls with kind of product category team leaders that you can jump on and ask questions. They have a huge support team. Now, you'll get varying opinions if you ask, well, how easy is it to get a hold of that support team, or how good is that support team? They are growing incredibly fast, and support is one of the hardest things to grow quickly and scale. In my opinion, they're doing a pretty darn fantastic job of it. But, depending on the day and who you get a hold of at that time, you can meet somebody that isn't as well trained as if you, called later on that day and got somebody else. So, but they are heavily invested in trying to provide very high quality support. So you can count on them making the effort and having all kinds of options available to you. Okay. You mentioned that if we sign up for high level through you, your products masterminds, what level of high level do we need to sign up? Chris, you can sign up at any level and get all of my bonuses. Okay. And that's because I do not want you to have to think about having to sign up for something that you don't need. You can just sign up for whatever you feel like is best for you. Okay. And you can get all the details of that servicesthatscale.com/high level bonus. If you want my recommendation is that if you're just getting started, just sign up at the $97 level. You don't need anything more than that to get started. Get your account set up, get familiar with the core capabilities of high level. And then as you understand those capabilities and you want to start selling, or if you want to proactively be able to design a specific solution into high level. So if you follow my training, Chris, what I recommend is that you use high level plus your own marketing assets and knowledge, or some of those that I provide to you or other people provide to you, to create a system. So in other words, you would not just hand somebody high level and say, here you go, small business owner, use high level. What you would do is you would design the landing pages, the workflows, the campaigns that small business that you're selling to would need to use. So you're selling to a restaurant and maybe they want some sort of monthly promotion campaign to go out the door. They want a birthday club so that they can, get people's birthdays and reward them on their birthdays with a free meal or a discount, things like that. Those are all things that are very easily designed proactively using resources, again, that I provide you, other people provide you, high level provides you, so that you create a complete system and drop that in for that business. So now you're providing a totally different value proposition than just providing the tools. So once you get to the point where you really want to design that, it will start to make sense very quickly to go to the 297, or most likely, honestly, the 497. The 497, to me, 297 is just a very temporary stopping ground for some people. And then it very quickly makes sense to be at the 497 for economic reasons and for features and benefits. So I would start at the 97. Once you understand high level better, you will know when the right time is to then go to one of those higher plans. You can, of course, ask me. You can ask anybody in the community, and we'll be able to help you with that as well. Okay? So I hope that helps you, sir. Carlos says, I'm from Portugal. Awesome. I love that, Carlos. I may very well be going to London. I have High Level has been kind enough to ask me to be there. And so I would really like to. I have a major event that I'm going to just in the handful of days prior to it. So I've got to work on the scheduling of that to make sure I can do it. But I really hope that I can. And I would love to see you there and meet as many of you as I can in person there. Awesome. Yeah, Alan. And Alan signed up at 297. I mean, I should say, who was that? Chris. You get access to more features and benefits of high level, not my bonuses. My bonuses are exactly the same, but you get more access to features of high level at 297 than you do at 97. Again, in my opinion, if you're just getting started though, and you really, if you have any question at all in your mind of how am I going to use high level, what the heck is Mike's marketing system stuff all about, sign up at 97, give yourself some time without any, financial pressure of having a bigger expense to just get through all of that, get through all those questions, get acquainted with the system and with my approach and, anybody else's training that you're looking into. And then you can upgrade whenever you're ready. Okay. Yep. There you go. Awesome. K14J, do you open up the automation section for clients? No. Nope. If so, how do you, yeah. So answer is no. And if for some reason I did make those available to them, I would tell them very clearly, I would have it written in my terms of service that if you want any changes to those, you either contact our team and we make those changes for you, or you make the changes and you're responsible for the consequences. You're responsible for, anything that breaks. You're responsible for our time if we have to then dig in there and try and fix it. So I would have that in my terms of service. Okay. And that is assuming, again, for anybody who's unclear about this, that is assuming that you are taking the approach of providing a marketing system to them as I advocate, and not just the tools. If you were just selling them, here's access to Mike's automated marketing system, aka a white label of HighLevel, and you were just giving them access to the tools because they have marketing knowledge and skills and somebody on their team that actually wants to get in there and use the tools. That's not most small businesses, and that's not who I recommend that you're selling to, but you may make those decisions or have those opportunities to provide tools to those businesses. Then you almost certainly would give them access to the automations as well, because they're gonna need that to get the value out of the system, okay, or out of the tools. Thank you, Alan. I appreciate it. First question. Heath says, will there be any organized meetup for this community at Summit in Dallas? Yes, sir, Heath. There absolutely will. I cannot wait. That is, it's such a great event, and I think it's going to be better than ever this year. It's going to be bigger than ever this year, but not by huge numbers, though. But they are letting more people attend, which I think is great, because I think it's the most valuable thing you can do each year. So, yes, I will have a meetup, and I will let you know as we get a little bit closer. Brock, I see that you are back there. If you want to come on camera, just turn on your camera and let me know. There you go. Hold on one second. Steve, I'll be right back with you. How's it going, sir?
Good, excellent. How are you?
Good. How's the leg?
Better. I can actually walk now with a little bit of a limp. Doing a lot of physical therapy, so to get it rolling. And because I'm now a little bit more mobile, and I can drive because it's the right leg. I couldn't drive for a while. So since I now mobile, I actually joined the Chamber of Commerce, and I could network with people.
Good. That's awesome.
So anyway, I had yesterday I had my first meeting, basically to speak about the product. To speak about my system, the R6, and what I can do for someone. It's actually someone I purchased the whole house water filtration system.
Mm-hmm.
It's I bought it for $6,000. They sell it for $8,000. It's not like a small thing, right?
Right.
So I said, okay, you know what? Because since I'm a client of yours, I know you. I'm a friend. Mm-hmm. I can do all the setup and everything for free, because I need to get some traction. So I'm choosing like 3 businesses to invest in. I communicated why, and I said afterwards it's $400 a month, and because they pay for that anyway now for Zoho and other things.
Right.
So here are a few things that came up. One, she said, the owner, the kind of like the marketing person in house. Mm-hmm. It's like they're doing okay on few things, and it's few things they need some help. Mm-hmm. Like they're doing okay on conversion, like the nurturing and stuff like that is pretty good because people decide within 5 days.
Right.
But then I told her, look, you have a lot of people that this is just the low-hanging fruit, what we call. They are 97% of people not ready to buy now. They're not even, like calling you to get an estimate. Mm-hmm. They understand that they need it. Here's her concern. One is like, can I do it on my account? So like she asked me to do it on HighLevel. I say, yeah, sure. But I'm not just giving you HighLevel. I'm using my system, my automation, my stuff. I'm writing you the emails. I'm customizing it for you, mm-hmm. instead of just you getting an access. And then did you train on writing emails, writing copy for landing page? Of course not. So she understands that. But she said, I don't want to give you access to my data, to all my, all the people that bought from me and stuff like that. That's my stuff. And I'm, she was apprehensive about that. Now I should have told her, so when you are with Zoho, don't they have access to your stuff? But I said, look, it's common. I actually said something of that sort, but I didn't really push that too much. One thing is, did you have an objection like that from somebody that kind of like maybe one of your students or something like that?
I've honestly, I don't think ever experienced that objection. Which is, I mean, that is like very. I mean, obviously, you're not going to say this to her, but that is absurdly
Or
naive to think. Yeah, to think that nobody has access to her data. I mean, obviously, anybody that any software that she's using, yeah, they have access to her data.
of course, but it's one thing. I mean, I think that what I understood from her, it's one thing when she has a direct account from HighLevel or from Zoho, from wherever, or a third-party company, that now I can be not as best business practices as those big companies. There are a
Got
lot of people that have bad business behavior, that I
yeah.
won't release the data or whatever. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. I think that's the
I do.
case.
Yeah, I do. I think so. The only way in my mind to answer this is just say, hey, look, I appreciate your concerns. And of course, data privacy is incredibly important for your business. And it's incredibly important for me as a service provider. If I was ever breaching anybody's trust around their data, obviously I would not be in business for very long. I have a terms of service that outlines a privacy policy. And also, of course, if there was ever anything that I did that was negligent or in any way obviously harmful to your business data, I would be liable for that. You would, of course, have a case to be made to sue me for that. So, I mean, that's not what I want to do as a professional service provider. And of course, that is something that I take very seriously. I mean, that's the only way to respond to that. And then if that person can't handle that answer, I just think it's just not a good prospect to work with. I mean,
That's fine. And I didn't really press it. I said, look, this is what I can do for you. There is no, it doesn't make sense for me to put all my intellectual property on somebody else's account. This is outside of my policy for my business. But look, I'm willing to build it all up for you for free, which is few $1,000s. And then my fees are very reasonable, and you're paying those fees anyway to other services. So you have nothing to lose. If you don't want, that's okay. I'm not pushy.
yeah.
I think the case is more she got burned. And look, I have a publishing company as well, so I've been
Mhm.
publishing books for people, and some people came to me with working with different publishers that put their book in their own KDP account, for example, and
Mhm.
afterwards they gave them a lot of problems. So
Mhm.
like they cannot get the book, and like stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I think it's more like I think that I told her, what do you think I'll do? I'll take your clientele and I'll sell them to a competitor. I'll start selling them water purification. Of course, that's stupid. That's not like, I didn't say
Right.
that those words, but of course this is not the case. But I think that she got burned by other marketers doing different
Yeah.
things, and she won things on her account. So
Yeah.
I will handle that. But then I was thinking, look, I think, and I wrote that in the community. It would be nice to have, I don't know if that's my own, only me. It would be nice to have, let's say, a workshop, a 2 days workshop on the audit cycle, and how do you assess, because you customize things, even though you have a snapshot, you still
Mhm.
customize things for each client. So how do
Yeah.
we, what obviously the audit questions and the survey, that's not enough. You just find the problems. But for example, I would go in and ask the let's say the customer's journey. Like, okay, let's say, for example, even after they sign up somebody,
Mhm.
sign them up, and then they get an estimate, they get a contract, they get, in 9 months they have a reminder that they have, in this case, for example, a reminder that they need to change filters in the next 3 months. Let's
Right.
schedule that. And then and
Right.
then every year, and they do this and they do that. And then you write all the processes that you need, both for existing customers and new customers and stuff like that. And you
Mhm.
basically plan out what automations I need, what email sequences I need, this and how to price it. and how to present the pricing so that it will make sense, and everything like that. I mean, I think it would be beneficial to work on that, because there are a lot of companies selling high level services, and you mentioned that selling tools. A lot of companies selling high level services that do not build it as much as we do. I mean, we are
Yeah.
saying basically that we put systems. We have the R6, framework, that we make sure that everything is covered. We have the five. What was it? 5 A's that you have 5A on the customer's journey, because I
Yeah,
changed.
yeah. Five. I have all kinds of them. 5 F's. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The 5 F's, because I made my own, so I
Yeah,
forgot.
yeah.
But you have basically you follow that. You have this step and
Exactly.
that of automation and so on. So we are basically saying, a lot of other sellers, they just give you that or give you some generic snapshot,
Right.
and then you are there to figure out if that works for you or not. See what I'm saying? Does that make sense to you? Well, I'm implementing that in your system. So
Yeah.
basically, we are saying that we're doing something different, and therefore that justifies charging for setup and onboarding, whatever you want to call it, audit, setup, or surge on onboarding. That's all, let's say $3,000.
Hmm.
Other companies just, yeah, sign up, pay me 297, and that's it, no setup fee.
Hmm.
So I mean, there is, you have a lot of knowledge about that.
Yeah.
That would be great to have a workshop around
Yeah.
this, all, and also how to plan it. Ask those questions to get those. Do I put it on a, I don't know, chart, like with all those
Hmm.
things, okay, this is done, this is done, and then afterwards go and build it in automation. I don't know if
Yeah.
this is like your thing.
No, no, yeah. So I got it. Let me answer. So one, we're glad to do a workshop. And I think that what we are planning on doing actually is some more ongoing uh, service kind of support, a live support, kind of like these office hours calls, but with somebody on my team that is going to help on a regular basis kind of answer questions like that on the service delivery side.
Just
But
to explain, this is not about how to build it. This is about how to sell it, how to
no, no,
plan
I
it.
understand.
Okay.
I understand, but I think it's both. I think the understanding how to sell it and how to build it, I think, really go together. Because if you are, if you understand how to, if you understand the whole process of what you're building and what the variables are really well, then I think that you will explain that very well in your sales process. So, as an example, I've seen your video and your presentation that you've put together that I think is very good. In that presentation, or in a more in-depth version of that presentation, I would be speaking to, if you're following my R's, right? If you're following the R's, I would be speaking to, as an example, for this R, here are the campaigns that we look to set up and customize for each business that we work with. And so I would be speaking to that. And so that way, the customer, as they are learning about you and as they're going through your content marketing, like, these are things that I would be covering all the time in my content marketing, my presentations, talking about the value of these specific types of campaigns and how your business customizes those for each and every customer. So I would make that a part of your conversation all the time, so that when they are consuming your content, they are getting the understanding of, oh, I'm not just signing up for a black box tool. I'm signing up for a service where this thing is going to be dialed in for me, for my business. And most customers they're going to understand that. They're going to get the difference between, I'm just signing up for a tool. When you explain that, they're going to get that difference. So I think that that's a very important part of it. And then in your sales process, as you're having that sales conversation, you're talking about the audit and things like that, you are looking for these obvious gaps to be able to point out to them, hey, here's what your business has right now in terms of these types of campaigns. We'll take those and replicate what you're currently doing inside of the system, look for opportunities to improve it. But here are gaps. You do not have these types of things in place at all. We're going to make sure and add those now using the system so that you're going to have a more complete, you're going to more completely address those R's. So that's going to be part of that sales process and justifying that surge fee that you're charging them. So that's generally the approach. And I think that I mean, yes, we can absolutely do, you know, some workshop sessions where we walk through that in more detail to you know, make sure you're comfortable with that.
Yeah, so here's while you were speaking, you know, so then I said, okay, I need to create that would have been great if you have something like that. I don't know if you do, but it would be great to create for myself. For example, you have the reliability and then you have the reputation. Okay, so for the reputation, we have those campaigns. Maybe
Right.
not of them, maybe not of all of them relevant for you. And then we have this, and we have that, and then we have this, and everything we have like a list of automations, let's say, that are relevant for that specific step.
Mm-hmm.
And I can show that. It's like, look, we have a lot of things that we can implement. It depends on your cycle, on your system, on your the way that you operate. Okay, like for
Yeah.
example, a restaurant will be different than a home services. That will be different than a lawyer, right? They have different thing. A lawyer would not do a birthday campaign, for example.
Yeah. And so,
You know,
sorry, I was trying to think of the other point I was trying to make, which is that is the most important thing about this is that if you take the approach that I recommend, which is you dial in ultimately on a certain
niche.
on a certain niche, then you are going to design a system that is completely tailored to that niche so that every time you have one of these conversations, you're not starting over.
Correct. But
So
I'm
that so
taking,
yeah,
I'm
so
taking
that you
another
don't
route.
end up as a consultant. I don't want you guys to have to be consultants as much as you are just system delivery and system integration. And so this is, though, to some extent, what you're talking about. And the reason why I put the word here, and I use campaigns when I was explaining to you, but that's a poor choice of words. Capabilities is a better word because you want to stress all of the capabilities that you're bringing to bear, not just campaigns, but all of the capabilities, because HighLevel has all of these incredible capabilities in there that you want to be stressing. Some of those things that you're going to bring to bear are campaigns. Some of them, though, are technology features and capabilities. And so I like that word capabilities better than campaigns. It doesn't pigeonhole you into just thinking of what are the things that I'm creating and the content that I'm creating. It's much more about the complete system that you're bringing to the table. And this is a good list to start from. It's a list that is always changing, of course, because HighLevel rolls out 10 new features every day. But also, again, it is a list that as you develop a system for a specific niche, you're going to dial it in exactly the way that you want it for that niche. And then when you sit down to deliver to that niche, the ideal way from a service delivery perspective is just to make sure that everybody understands this, because everybody may be looking at this list and going, oh my gosh, I have to build all these things. No, you create a snapshot once and then you drop that snapshot in place. And when you drop that snapshot in place, you may choose to activate certain things and not others for that particular customer. But all of the capabilities are in the account, which now you're not starting from scratch. You're not assembling from scratch. If anything, what you're doing is you're looking at the entire list of capabilities and saying, for this customer, I'm actually going to go ahead and either just not activate these things or maybe pull them out entirely if you want to. That's up to you. I prefer, the way I prefer to do it is just put the whole damn snapshot in there. As long as it's organized and you understand the structure of it, you understand your naming conventions, so that when you look at it, it's not just a big mess of stuff. You can actually navigate your way through it. I prefer to put the whole damn snapshot in there. And then That way, any capability that I end up wanting to turn on for the customer at any moment's notice, it's there. I just have to go back in and turn it on. So that's my preferred approach. Everybody has a different level of comfort around that. Some people only want to install the exact things that they're going to use for that customer because it keeps it cleaner in the account. Whatever works for you. I'm one of those people that my inbox and my email can have 2,000 unopened messages and it doesn't stress me out. Some people have to empty their inbox. They have to get to inbox 0 every day or it stresses them out. That's probably kind of the differences in personalities as to what you do with your snapshots and how you put them in there. But generally speaking, that's what we're looking at.
That's a good table, because basically I have two places I'm selling that. I'm selling that in my initial sales call or meeting or whatever. I'm telling them it's going to be, let's say, $300, $400, $500 a month, and they're going to be like, I don't know, let's say $3,000. Like for setting it up. I don't know exactly how much. It depends what we'll find out. So I'm giving him a ballpark. Let's say it's going to be between $3,000 to $5,000, depends on what we find out. We're going to do an audit. We're going to build it up for you, and then I'm going to do onboarding for a month, let's say, or something like that. And this is covering that part. So I'm selling them a ballpark at the beginning, and then afterwards, when we do the audit, then I tell them, okay, well, it came up to be 4,200, whatever it is, for all that stuff, because we are gonna do 40 campaigns and 50 emails, or what, you know what I mean? Like I have to kind of like start listing it out and stuff like that. So okay, that's good to start with. Now, another question she had, I'm sorry if I'm taking too long. If you want, I can
go ahead. Go for it.
Okay. Another question she was asking, okay, so what does the $400 a month include? I mean, they're not a small company. She said they're installing about 40 of those $8,000 machine. That's $320 a month, so it's not like they're struggling so much. But so $400 a month, what does that include? I said it includes me providing the system and having all the tools working for you. Because she said, yeah, but you build it for free for us. So yeah, build it for free, but then you keep on using it. Similar to Zoho, they charge you. What are they charging you? They're charging you for providing you the system and giving you support. This is what I'm going to do. But the point is, where do you draw the line between things? For example, if something, I told her, if something doesn't work, of course, I'll fix it. If you want to have a change on an email or something like that, I'll change it for you. I won't charge you. But if you need to build a new landing page and an email sequence, we'll have to speak. But exactly what, like when I was doing websites for people, I would say, like, as long as it's below an hour a month, I'll include it in the $50 hosting I give you.
But so you need to document that clearly, Brock. You need to sit down and document that clearly, so it's not just a conversation that you're winging. You need to have a very clear list of here's what's included at your $400 a month. And then, as I say in my training, you need to have boundaries, and those boundaries need to be clear. And you need to be able to show them, as an example, here are things outside of the boundaries, and here's how much it would cost for me to help you with those if you want those. Here's things that are outside of the boundaries that we just do not do, right? Because you are not a sell your time and talent by the hour service provider. That's not the business we want to be in. And your customers will ask you for anything and everything if they see you that way. If it has anything to do with marketing, they're gonna call you up and go, hey, can't you just do this for us? And the typical agency in this industry is gonna go, yeah, I can do that for you. And you're gonna end up with a horrible business that you're gonna hate. So you've got to have boundaries. But this is on you. This is on you. And I'm speaking to you, and I'm speaking to everybody on this call. This is on you to document this clearly and have it on a sheet of paper that you show every customer. This is what's included. This is what's not included that we do and how much it costs. This is what's not included that we do not do, period. So that way the customer has very clear expectations, and you have drawn those boundaries that are going to protect you from going into agency mode and time and talent business model mode. So the core things that you want to include in your $400, access to the software, and you want to talk about all the incredible features of the software, have some sort of comparison to, hey, if you were paying for all of these tools individually, here's how much it would cost you. You want to say you're getting access to our system that has been designed for your business. You're getting ongoing support from our team. You're getting X amount of emails, SMS, AI credits, any of that type of stuff that you've built into your $400 a month. So you want to have all that, and updates and upgrades that are happening all the time, both to the software and the system. So all of that, and if you're providing any sort of educational portal, access to the training portal, access to training calls on an ongoing basis, if you're doing some sort of office hours calls like this, which you should be. Yeah, so all of that is included in the $400 a month. So you're going to have a very impressive list at the end of the day. Okay. So that's up to you to document and provide that for them, for sure.
Yeah. And of course, when I don't have any clients, I will not do office hours until I have a audience to do that. At the beginning, they will be like accessible to my support, basically. Yep. And by the way, you know, I was proud of myself saying no to when they asked. They said, "What we want is leads." Basically, Facebook ads, Google ads, and I said, "No, I'm not doing that at the moment. As long as we don't have the structure, the RC structure, I will not touch that account. You know, maybe later on down the road." But I was proud of myself saying that because I'm learning.
We're all learning. We're all learning. Yeah. That's awesome. All right, cool. Okay. Brock, I'm going to jump and answer some of these other questions. Okay.
Yeah.
No, thanks. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And keep on healing up.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Darren, I see you back there. I'll be with you here in just one moment. Let me just answer a couple of questions here. How much chatbot feature costs to an SMB usually per month? Extra. I understand it depends on how much usage, but if the client asks, what's the average monthly bill? That's a tough one. I mean, it totally depends on the business and how much traffic they're getting. And I mean, it depends on the industry and how much traffic they're getting. But I think, you know, if you're offering a chatbot for $97 a month, for most businesses, that's going to be, you know, and you include, let's say, $30 of that in credits. So $97 a month, you're offering up to $30 a month worth of actual chat credits. That's going to be plenty for most like small businesses. Again, though, it depends on the industry that you're selling to. So you just need to structure your package so that it says $97 a month, this much SMS, you know, or chat, you know, text, excuse me, is included. If you're doing the AI, now that's a different program, you know, so you got to just look at your resale rates. So make sure that you're paying attention to your resale rates inside of HighLevel's SaaS configurator. But then you're just going to say, here's how much roughly is included. And then anything above that, here's how much you're paying extra for usage. Okay. So, but you know, what's the average for business? I have no idea. I really, like I said, that totally depends on the industry that you're selling to. Is it a really busy business? No. Is it really busy on their website versus not, you know? So that's, unfortunately, that's just something that you got to figure out here. What is the learning curve to get started and be ready to market and build what you sell? Okay. So, Chris, that's an impossible one for me to answer, not knowing who you are, what your background is. Some people are coming into this, they've already run agencies. Some people are coming to this, have never run a business a day in their life and don't know anything about technology and don't know anything about marketing. So there's a broad spectrum. I have no idea what your background is. Even if I did, it would be hard for me to answer the question because it really depends on your ability to learn. Are you going to put 10 hours a day into this? Or are you going to put 2 hours a day into this? But what I would tell you is the approach that I would take and that I wish everybody would take is that if you can, and I understand not all of you can because you've got to do other things, other jobs maybe still while you're trying to build your business. what I would recommend for you is that if you sign up for HighLevel and you plan on taking the first 30 days, and I'm assuming you're starting from scratch, okay? If you sign up for HighLevel and you take the first 30 days, roughly, to get everything set up, to really understand how to use HighLevel as much as you can in that 30 days, and to really think through and design your service package, your price points, things like that, as much as possible in that first 30 days. Get your website set up, get your brand set up, get everything set up for your business. That doesn't have to take a full 30 days, but I think it can, and it's a reasonable time frame. What I would love for you to do then is at the end of that 30 days, your mindset is, I am now going into full sprint for the next 90 days to just market my services and try and contact as many prospects as I can, have as many conversations as I can, try to get somewhere between 3 to 5 customers on board, even if you have to cut them some real favorable deals to get it going, even if you have to offer the first, 3 months of service free, whatever you have to do in that first 90 days to get that momentum going. I call it getting the train pulling out of the station. Okay. When you're starting a business, the hardest thing to do is get that initial momentum, because you got a lot of headwinds. You got a lot of stuff that you got to do. And it can feel like, oh my gosh, this is a heavy lift. You've got to anticipate that mentally. And you've got to, again, your mindset has to be prepared that, okay, I'm going to put my head down for the next 90 days. And all I'm going to do is get that damn train going out of the station. The way you get the train going out of the station is not by spending 6 hours a day fooling around with HighLevel, not 6 hours a day watching YouTube videos from Mike Cooch, from any other guru out there, any of that nonsense. It is to put your head down and do sales and marketing and talk to prospects. You will then create new problems for yourself. These are good problems, okay? The problems that you will create for yourself is you will now have prospects that want to sign up for your stuff and start asking you difficult questions and start, pushing on, well, what does your service plan include? Just like Brock was talking about there. And you're going to be forced now to answer those questions to keep your momentum going. Bad problems to have when you're trying to start a business. Bad problems are no conversations with prospects, no sales and marketing momentum, because you're sitting around continuing to just learn. You've become a professional student and you're watching YouTube videos all day, okay? You got to get out of that mode. And so take that first 30 days to be in that mode. Educate yourself, get HighLevel set up, get your business set up, learn as much as you possibly can, design your services, but then put your head down for the next 90 days and do nothing but sales and marketing. If you do that at the end of that 90 days, I believe just about anybody who's got any experience with sales, hustle, motivation, all of that, should get those 3 to 5 customers on board in that time frame. And you should have a pipeline of activity now that is going to feed you for those next, 5 to 10 customers. And you just want to keep that momentum going. Okay. So will it go exactly like that? No. Will you take a little bit longer here and there because maybe you have no experience at all? Yes. Right. For somebody who's listening to this, that's like, Mike, I've already had an agency for 7 years and I just want to do it better. Great. You'll probably be off to the races really quickly. So that's the best answer I can give you, Chris. Second question was, once you make a sale and you get the client going, how much time is spent on servicing the client? If you take my approach, which is you create a system, you put that system in place, you train them on how to use it, you put in educational videos to make sure that they understand how to use the core features, put that into a membership site so they can access it anytime. You do a weekly office hours call so that you can answer questions live, just like I'm doing here. And you have a support desk that they can contact just by email. They're going to email you questions and you can email, responses back to them. The time spent per customer to manage that relationship will be very, very low, sub 1 hour a month. Okay. If you don't do it that way, that's on you to figure out. It can be all over the place, right? If you're going to make yourself available for every damn question that comes along, and you haven't organized your training and you haven't organized your system, you could spend an endless amount of time per customer. Okay. So again, I hate to give it depends answers, but the reality is it depends. Depends on your execution, depends on the decisions you make. It depends on your skills, your knowledge, your discipline. Okay. So I hope that helps you. Darren, my man, you ready? How's it going, sir?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you. Thanks for your patience.
Sounds like you got a great party going on in a couple hours.
Yeah, I do. I'm super excited about it. Yeah.
Almost, it's like something to fly from Jacksonville there to attend the party. It sounds like it'd be a fun time to fly from Jacksonville, Florida, just to go to the party.
There you go.
So I got a couple of quick questions. One's operational, and the other one is get your opinion on the subscription plan. Okay. So the operational question. So I have a physical promotional marketing that we do for car dealers. I'm trying to work my way out of that.
Okay.
So kind of my plan with implementing Go HighLevel with the providing automation is to put the first 15 to 25 clients on myself to work through it and work through the bugs in the systems. Then I want to bring somebody on and pay them salary, a base plus commission in order to handle both businesses. And the goal is for Jacksonville, I want the pay to be annual salary to be 60 to 115,000, depending on their performance. Mm-hmm. And I want to get your opinion on that for the first one. And then operationally, or a subscription, the way my subscriptions worked out at the $99 for basically a launch program. Mm-hmm. It's marketing websites. It's designed for people that small businesses that aren't quite ready to jumpstart into more marketing. So it provides basic website with all the marketing websites. The next package is reputation management and digital footprint, and then it goes from there to the full package. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like bring them in and work them through to each package to grow them through there. Mm-hmm. The normal marketing. In my experience, a lot of businesses jump around with marketing and they don't have a foundation and work on a system. And the way I see the HighLevel program is to be able to put that in place and help people grow. So on those two things, what are your opinions on what I just said?
Cool. So on the first one, just to make sure I understand the role, this is going to be somebody that's more on the operational kind of support and technical delivery side of things. Is that the role?
No, that I'll learn how to do that as I go for the first 20 or so customers. Mm-hmm. But I want to bring somebody on for the marketing or for the sales, and basically bring people on and be the support. And my thought would be to have a commission plus a base. The commission would also be a recurring because that's their customer base to work through.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I think then that range for a salesperson, 60. My goal always for any sales role is I want to be able to show them a realistic plan to hit 6 figures.
Right.
So it sounds like that's what you're putting in place there as a plan for them to be able to do that. So as long as your plan really logically makes sense and you can believe it and justify it and show them how they get there, then I think that's great. I think, of course, for a salesperson, I would never want to cap their income because if they can keep on bringing in more revenue, then great. Keep on rewarding them. So I don't think that you need to put a top end on it, but I think that, yes, you do need to show them how to get to 6 figures. And I think a 60K base, while I'm not completely familiar with Jacksonville, I think that sounds like a very reasonable number for almost anywhere in the United States. So,
yeah, kind of the model I worked out for to look at that was 12 to 15% commission on a monthly recurring.
Yep,
and that's 125 I keep on to say clients, but customers.
Yeah, I love it.
And once they get more than 125, but 125 would be the target. That puts them at 115 per year. Cool. And for me, that's about $10,900 with taxes and everything, it's about 10,000 a month, and they're creating 37,000 a month at 125. That's kind of my thought process.
Cool.
Obviously, they can do more if they put more on. They get paid more, obviously.
I love it.
And then,
I love it. I mean, you've obviously thought through the math, and that 10 to 15% range on a recurring basis is typically where I always think it's good to land in these models. So I think it sounds like a good plan.
Excellent.
And then the second question. So on those packages, I mean, the price points and the way that you're thinking about structuring them, I think sounds good. I think that the thing that I always just push on for you to consider, and you can see how this goes, maybe as you're onboarding some of these initial customers. But I always just consider or ask you to consider the this more of this type of approach. So making it a purely activity based or volume based pricing structure. And so, you can see what I've done here is I've done a basic, pro, and premium where they're getting all of the capabilities, because as you said, small businesses are lacking the core systems that they need to really operate successfully as a business. So if you were to give them, and there's not, I want to stress here, there's not a right or wrong. It's just an approach to consider. If I were to structure this base package, instead of giving them all of the capabilities, let's say that I gave them, well, let's just say that I gave them just like reputation capabilities. That's awesome. And reputation capabilities are very powerful and certainly will solve problems for the right business, but it's a limited solution. If there's now also not some follow-up marketing component, and there's also not some, whatever, these other core systems that business needs. So for me personally, I get frustrated when I'm selling a particular aspect of the complete system to small businesses, because inevitably there almost always ends up being a situation where that business then is dissatisfied because, well, I'm using your marketing system, but X isn't happening. And now you're saying, well, yeah, we could do X and I got to charge you more. And it's just, the alignment between you and the customer then feels a little disjointed. It feels like, now, I mean, to you, of course, it seems very logical. Well, from a sales perspective, yeah, if you want that done, give me more money. But from a prospect's perspective, to me, it doesn't feel nearly as good in their mind versus if you give them all of the capabilities that they need on day one and just say, hey, look, if you use it at this rate, here's the price point. And then hopefully your business grows, you add some people, the volume of everything picks up. And if that happens, we both win, because we're going to need to charge you a little bit more for the extra usage of the system, but you're going to be very happy with that because your business is growing and healthy. It's a win for both of us. But that way you're giving them that complete thing on day one. So that's just the only thing I asked you to consider, but your market, who you're selling to and talking to better than I do. And so I think generally the way that you're talking about doing it is just fine.
Excellent. Yeah. I agree with you 100%. And I've been on the other end of that. The thing you need is right outside the package you have, which is frustrating.
Exactly.
I guess I have a hard time getting my head around, how do you charge for usage? I don't understand that. I guess I don't see how do you price that out?
Let me go right back. It's actually super simple. It's actually the simplest model of all of them, I believe, because now you're not confusing them with this. Oh yeah, if you want these bells and whistles, it's this much, but you don't get these bells and whistles. If you want those, it's more. Now you're having to explain to the customer the difference between the bells and whistles, right? Which is that's actually difficult because they don't understand marketing and technology the way you do. Absolutely. Versus with this, it's just, hey, if you have 1 to 3 team members, you're at this is just this $297 to $497 is just a range. I'm showing you that is my suggested price range for your base plan if you're doing a full system. You would pick your price. It's either you're selling it at $297 or $397 or $497. I'm not telling them I'm not telling you that you would be presenting to your customers a range. You would just tell them a price. It's $297 a month. You get all of these capabilities. You have 1 to 3 team members can access the system, and it includes roughly these credits. And of course, depending on your markup and stuff of the credits, you need to go in and figure out what is the right numbers for you to put here. But that's how you would present it. It's $297 a month. You get access to everything for 1 to 3 team members, and that includes all these credits. If you decide that you need to add more team members, now you're up here, and that should be 4, and that should be 11 plus. And then if you need more usage of the credits because you're just doing a high volume of communication and transactions, that would pull you up to this higher plan. So it's literally just based on the use of the system. More people are using the system, or they are using the system in higher volume. Does that make sense?
Right. So it's not exactly, but it's similar to, you're basically selling seats, a seat range for logins then, right?
A seat range, yeah. And if you look at like a company, so the way I model this is if you look at a company like ConvertKit, which is now just Kit, but they really took off in their growth and profitability when they switched to a usage-based model, which was just, hey, if you're sending this many emails out of the system, here's how much you're paying. If you want to send more emails out of the system, you're paying more because you're just using the system more. It's a very logical, like, here's the features. Now just use the damn thing. And if you use the damn thing and you're growing and your business is healthy and you're using it more, well, then you're going to pay more. So it's just like a very natural, like, okay, yeah, I understand that, you know? And that's when their business really took off because there was that alignment with the customer. And so that's what we're trying to do here. So it could be seats, but it could also just be, yeah, are you sending 10,000 emails a month or are you sending 50,000 emails a month? Because if you're sending 50,000 emails a month, that has cost to it.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that's a lot easier to put it together to make that happen too. It's a lot easier as far as the sales process, making people understand. It's not all the, so I like that process. I just need to figure out how I'm right.
Everything's easier. The service delivery is easier because now you're not trying to sell segmented solutions and saying, oh yeah, you can't access that part of the thing. You can only access this part of the thing. It makes everything easier.
I love that. So it just matter of pricing it so that you like $300 a month at least. That's kind of my goal. All of my models are based off of the average $300 a month to make everything work.
Totally.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Super reasonable price point, given the value that you're going to provide, and also a super reasonable price point in terms of most businesses that you want to work with can afford it. So
based off your model, so having a 2-price system, a foot in the door, and then the base system, the rest, everything else is kind of the way would you do it then, right? Like
exactly.
Or you just got it, perfect.
Yep.
But yeah, like
and the foot in the doors. Yeah, and the foot in the doors, you're really strategically thinking through, like, what is just one single thing ideally that I can offer so that it's a very easy, hey, if you're willing to sign up for that at $97 a month, you'd be crazy not to sign up for this at $297 a month because you're literally talking about a thing. At $297, we give you, dozens of things, right? And the ability to use it all. So yes, that's exactly the approach.
And that price point is for most businesses, one sale, one closed deal is going to take care of the monthly fee. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's
perfect.
That's exactly right. And any business that doesn't understand that, you should get on your bike and turn around and ride home real quick.
They're going to be a hassle. They're going to hassle you about other things too.
Exactly.
All right. Perfect. Well, appreciate it. That's excellent. That's great advice. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Absolutely. Yeah. Good luck, Darren. We'll keep us posted.
All right. Thanks.
All right. All right. Let's see. I've got a few more minutes here. Let me get through some of these questions in the comments. Yeah. Yep. Awesome. Yeah. And you can do that, by the way. I mean, I've done this. I've customized the interface of HighLevel, you can hire somebody to customize the heck out of the interface for you if you want. I just like to keep things simple. You know, it's, again, you can do it however you want. Things can be hard to convey. We already talked about that one. I'm using review management as my foot in the door. Would a GPB optimization be part of that system, or would it fall into the full marketing system? Would that be managed by Yext and business citations? I think that you can do it either way, AT, as long as you, so I would probably base the answer to this on who is it that I'm selling to. So is this Google Business Profile Optimization like going to be something that they pretty much all need and see a ton of value in? Is that going to differentiate your ability to sell if you offer that as included? And then operationalizing it, right? To me, anything where you're doing like a one-time optimization like that, especially if you're going to be using Yext to do it on an ongoing basis, it's really easy to operationalize something like that, typically, to like just turn it into an absolute system, just a machine, right? So if you take that approach, and that's going to really differentiate your sales and make it really attractive to sell your services. And so you're going to do a bunch of those in volume. It's kind of like my free website offer, right? AT, if you're going to sell one website for free, that's a big pain in the neck. But if you're going to sell 100 websites for free, you build a system around how you build websites, and it's really not that hard. You can crank out websites very, very quickly. But it takes that shift in mindset to, okay, I'm going to do this in volume. So I personally think that you could offer a one-time optimization like that pretty darn easily and include that, and that would be very attractive. I do think, though, I am not a Google business profile guy at all. So so generally speaking, my answer that I just gave you was the answer. Specific to Google Business Profile, I hesitate to say what you should or shouldn't do, because Google, I know, can be such a pain in the neck to work with in terms of, can you make changes? Do you have to verify the business? Like all that nonsense. I hate all of that stuff. I hate when I have to give up all that control to a third party that I have no influence on, and Google, we have no influence on, right? So I would just ask you to make sure to really dig into that so that okay, yes, this is something I can control and turn into a really dialed in process. And if not, I would leave that out. Okay. Heath says, I've been working through HLA. It appears to be focused on the agency side, sub-account. Are there industry-related templates anywhere in the course library to build off for our customer systems? Heath, no. So you have the R4, which is your systems, and then you have the R6, which is the service delivery side for the customers. So I think I'm answering your question. The R6 is about service delivery, and the R4 is your agency sales process. So hopefully that helps you. Taking the systems approach, but finding that my discussions with the client are offering advice and guidance, not just a pure system only. Also, it's step-by-step currently, not a black box. Yeah, Alan, and you're getting going, right? And so I'm gonna record a video for YouTube here pretty quickly that talks about the importance in the early days of doing things that don't scale, right? It's one of the most important lessons on building a good, healthy business is at the beginning, we all want it to be super efficient and super scalable and super automated. But the most important things that you're going to learn about your business, about how to deliver your services right, about how to keep really happy customers, is by doing the unscalable things at the beginning. And the unscalable things are things like having some of those more consultative conversations and having, doing some more custom setups than you plan on doing in the long term. But you're really learning then, what are these pain points of these customers that I'm dealing with, and how do I now structure my solution to do those things in a more scalable way long term? So just keep in mind, you're in a good place. You're getting customers. You're having conversations, and that you are learning. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. So you're in a great place, and everybody should learn from this, which is he's got his first few customers. That's the win. He's having good problems. Remember we just talked about earlier a few minutes ago about good problems versus bad problems. He's got good problems now. The good problems are he's got customers that want to pay him money and do stuff. And he is now realizing, oh shit, I've got to figure out how to do this stuff in a more scalable way. And you will, right? And so these are good problems. Just keep that in mind and just keep chugging forward. And specifically, I want to answer this question about how you're getting into these consultative conversations, Alan, or it wasn't even a question. I just want to address this because one of the most important things that you will create at your business, and I hope my R6 frameworks will help you do this faster, is the ability to be a guide at scale, right? If you can have those consultative conversations using frameworks and using methodologies, and you make that a part of all of your content marketing, and you make that a part of the things that you are doing in your webinars or whatever it is, now you're able to be a guide at scale versus a guide where you have to have all these one-on-one consultative conversations. But even when you do have those one-on-one consultative conversations, the whole thing goes much better and much more efficiently when you now can refer to those frameworks and methodologies and say, hey, Mr. Customer, that's a great question. Here's how we think about marketing. And here is what your question pertains to. And here is how our system addresses that, right? And it just makes all of that just go much more smoothly and efficiently so that you don't get stuck in these really intense consultative conversations. Now, some of this, especially in these early days, is you're finding exactly what you said here. Each of these 3 clients an hour are different. I'm spotting things in each client for discussion. Yeah. So now you got different customers that have different needs. And over time, what you're going to find is my solution going forward is now going to have these boundaries. So I'm not even going to leave the opportunity open to address those types of things, or I'm going to create an automated system that is a solution to that question because I keep running into it over and over again. Those are the types of things that you're going to determine in your business here over time. Alan, I'm going to bring you on camera here since I'm talking about you. How's it going?
Hence coming into the room, because I just thought it's an interesting question you asked, how am I getting into these conversations? And it's largely because what I did, I think in one of these earlier office calls, you'd said about putting all the workflows in, the R6 system. And I debated, do I remove a load and then just focus in? But actually, I found it a really good discussion point for the customer to say, look, we want to achieve these quick wins, but you need to put things in place. So I'll give you an example, the health and wellness clinic I'm working with, the owner wants to target executives and CEOs of small businesses in the region, but successful, who might want their NAD for whatever treatments, DNA tests and all that stuff. So I'm saying, well, why would I talk to you if I'm on LinkedIn and I get a LinkedIn connection message? What is it that's going to cause me? And then we got into a discussion about he tried putting a score app thing together, and he sent me the link, and I did it. It's like 11 questions, and I said, I gave him some feedback. I used ChatGPT and everything as well, and just said, look, for me, we can really improve on this, and I can help you do that if that's what you want. But we already have some of these workflows, and here they are, but we need to have the right content.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the sort of discussions I'm getting into. And I'm thinking, well, should I be? But he's loving it, and his team, the marketing team and everything are loving it. And I'm thinking it's going to make me sticky to them going forward.
Yeah. Totally.
They're going to keep coming back,
Yeah, and I think that conversation that you're having, that right there that I'm hearing, can be turned into a framework that you can now easily answer that type of question for any type of business and in all kinds of scenarios going forward. Because you can say, hey, in successful marketing, here are the components in today's world. There's the technology, there's the delivery channel, and there's the content, right? And so what we're talking about missing right now is the content, and that could be LinkedIn, it could be Facebook, it could be any other thing. So now you're turning that into a framework that you're going to be able to address that type of question again very efficiently going forward, because now they're going to have a way to understand as they're thinking about asking you their next question. Oh, wait a minute, there's that framework, right?
And I'm able to leverage this. So I was talking to the second client today, and I mentioned the first one because they sort of know each other, and they know I'm on a learning curve around this as well, being open about it. I'm not saying that I have all the answers, but I was able to say, and this is what we're doing over here, because it's having this impact, and that again, it's just instant credibility. So it does work with this process. Yeah,
that's awesome. I love it. Sounds like you're right on track.
Getting there.
Awesome. Thank you, Alan. I appreciate you.
Thanks.
All right, I'm going to go through these questions. I have to get running pretty quickly, so I'm going to go through these questions in the chat here pretty fast. And if I do not get to you, please post it in the online group, and we will get to you there. But I'm going to go through them. Yep. Yes. I love it. Yep. This is all referring to what we're doing just with Alan there. How often do website customers ask to edit their website? Just wondering if Go HighLevel websites are a better choice than WordPress sites with personal logins. Yeah, you know what? So I got to tell you, I have delivered hundreds of websites to small businesses and told them, each month you can get up to an hour of these types of edits, no cost. And then ultimately I just said, these kinds of edits are just no cost, period. Because the volume of requests that we got was actually super low. And, this is going to vary by industry. So, of course, test it and use some judgment. But what I found is that the number of requests generally is tiny. And it is such a high perceived value thing that you're just saying, yeah, just contact us and we'll do the edits, that people just love you for it. It creates incredible loyalty. So just something for you to consider there. Yes, that's right. New problems are how you grow, how you make more money, all that. All right. Awesome. Love it. Yes, that's awesome, AT. We are all always our biggest obstacles. We are our biggest obstacles, that's for sure. Part of the R6 system is building a lead magnet and a nurture system, and they are paying for that on the surge. However, lead magnets can miss the mark. You may need to test a few, but then you need to build a new landing page with copy emails, landing, and so on. How do you position that? Brock, so a couple things. One, my answer is ideally you settle in on a niche and you look at and create best practice landing pages and email and lead magnets for that industry so that what works. And that's part of the incredible value of your service is, hey, we do this for roofers all day long, and we are constantly learning and evaluating the latest things that work to attract new customers. That is a beautiful value proposition of your service, is that we're always testing that. We're always upgrading our system with the latest and greatest of what works, and you're going to benefit from that automatically. Now, if you are going to different customers and you are offering that as part of your service, where it's like, hey, this lead magnet is really like, I'm figuring out a custom thing for this customer, then what I would do is I would do just like I do with building websites, which is I would tell them there is a 3 revision process, right? Included is we're going to put up an offer based on lead magnet landing page, and then we're going to test it. And if it needs to be tweaked and improved, we're going to do that. And we're going to do that up to 3 rounds of revisions at no cost. Then after that, it's X dollars of revisions if you want us to keep going. Okay. Obviously, Barack, if you're going to do that, I would recommend that you are doing good research for that customer in advance. Going out there. I mean, obviously there's lead magnets that you can see and study for every type of industry and their competition and all that. And, you should have a good educated guess as to what's working before you ever even start that process, just to make it as easy as possible on you and on them. Thinking of $97 a month for website hosting and maintenance, $197 for review management, and $297 a month for the entire system. Make it a no-brainer. I love it. That's great. I have an email marketing agency where we offer custom turnkey email marketing solutions. How would you package this to more asset automation-based package? Interested to hear how to package the email service. Awesome. I love that. That sounds like a good business. I like it. So the way that I would do that is, I mean, obviously the email delivery, all of that is a very commoditized, right? So that's just, here's how much it costs this month, depending on how many emails that you're sending, that type of thing. And then what I would do is I would create, so it's email marketing, custom turnkey email marketing solutions. So ideally, you would, again, as I have repeated over and over again in this call, is you would find specific niches that you're going to go after so that you can create a set of templates for campaigns and a set of templates for landing pages that are, very, very similar from one business to the next that you can just reuse over and over again with very little customization. And so then you would offer, for X dollar setup fee, we customize all of these campaigns and landing pages and templates for you. It sounds very high value because it is, where the reality is, though, from a service delivery perspective, you've really just turned that into a very templated thing. So your cost in the service delivery is actually very low, but again, very high perceived value, so that you can set all that up for a customer essentially at once. And now you've got this system with all these campaigns ready to go, landing pages ready to go. And that's super, super attractive. It could be, if you need to take a more custom approach, though, still, that you have. So what I just described to you there, that could be a pretty darn low priced service package. So as an example, I used to do this for hundreds and hundreds of IT firms. And those IT firms, we would put together a newsletter for them each week, landing pages, blog posts, all of that. But because it was for one industry, I could offer that for $397 a month. Because the work that I had to do was super, super minimal for each customer. I mean, it was essentially the exact same package everybody's getting. So that could be the first situation I described there could just be a nice low price point service, very, very, very attractive. That really differentiates you from the commoditized just email service providers, right? If you have to do a more custom solution, just the nature of the business, they really do need something custom. They really do need more creative, more testing, things like that. I would then just put together a package that, let's say it's every month, they get a new landing page design, a new campaign design, includes the images, the copy, all of that, plus X tens of thousands of emails sent per month. And I would just make that package just a higher price point, but you just put a very specific set of deliverables like that. So, it's one landing page, it's X emails, it's, whatever. And just make that a higher price point, just knowing that you're going to have to do more customization just based on the needs of that customer. But I would still productize it. I would still get it into a specific set of deliverables with boundaries, like I talked about earlier, clear boundaries. It's this number of emails, this number of landing pages, this number of actual email volume being sent out. That's the boundaries. Anything outside of that now costs you extra. If you want us to do an extra round of testing of that landing page, if you want us to do an extra revision of the copy on that email, Those are all things that are now extra on top of the normal service fee. If you decide that you want to send that campaign out to an extra 50,000 people, here's how much it costs. So I hope that helps you. That would be my approach to it. And it's just, anytime you're productizing services like this, and I love, by the way, that you are already coming from the position of having an agency. It makes all of this much, much easier, because the things that are a pain in the neck with your customers right now, and the things that really add value and get them excited. So it should be much easier for you to go, okay, these are the things that we need to have in our package. These are the things that are a pain in the butt that I want to leave out and charge people extra for if they want. Like, that's a great starting point. And then it just takes some experimentation. It really does. You just got to go out and sell it and deliver it and find the friction points and just keep refining it. But because of your experience, that will happen pretty quickly. Okay. Dawson, my man, I've only got a few minutes here. So you want to come on real quick? Give us the update. I like the hat.
There we go. Okay. I've just been doing more traveling recently and just kind of, getting out there and spreading the word about my skills, abilities, and photos. Nothing in particular, I guess I would say, for an update. It's been about the same kind of since last time. Yeah.
That's all right. That's good. And traveling is good. Traveling opens up your eyes, meet new people, learn some things. That's always good. Anytime you can travel, I'm a fan.
So I was on a music channel earlier as part of the kind of promotions and YouTube side of it. So that was my 84th appearance. Wow. And I have over 100 hours. And actually, the other panelist has a show on Sunday. So now I'm going to have my 85th and possibly my 105th hour of broadcasting. So nice. I'm just doing this one step by step, awesome. Gaining a loyalty of fans, so to say, and to have those positive reference experiences.
I love it, man. That's fantastic. Good for you for getting out there and getting it done, taking action.
So that when I get to the 85th, maybe it might lead me to the 86th.
That's right.
But I'm shooting for 100 channel appearances by the end of May. So that's
good for you, man. I love it.
Got the next steps in sight. Yeah.
Awesome. Good. Fantastic. Well, thanks for coming on and giving us the update. I have to run because I got to get to this. I got all these parties and stuff later on today, so
okay.
I gotta get moving. But
great to see you, and I'll watch the replay.
Awesome. Sounds good, man. Thank you very much. Awesome, everybody. Thank you as always for being here. Thank you for being a part of the community. I hope you got value out of this call. We do office hours roughly weekly, especially right here lately. My travel schedule has been a little bit bonkers, but generally weekly. And in between these calls, you can post questions in our online community, and myself or my team will get to them there. Thank you for your business. Thank you for your time and attention. Have a great rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend, and we will see you on a future call. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.